so I thought might get player of the game. Canada gave up a few bad rushes, and he kind of stood on his head, which, as a Mooseheads fan, I'm very used to. That's the exact same style that the Mooseheads play. He had an incredible glove save in the first, and as a Canadian fan, it's nice because World Junior goalie controversies are so common for Team Canada, so to know that they've got a reliable number one is great after one game, especially after the 5-2 loss Canada took to Czechia on Boxing Day last year. Player of the game for Team Canada, Nate Danielson, got the first goal of the game as he fought to get net front presence, then took a shot off the butt. That'd be all for the first and the second. Jordan Dumais would get that breakaway I talk about, almost score, but it'd be Owen Allard on Team Canada's. They were calling it pretty much a grinding line who would get the second goal. And the celebration there on the tap-in, pretty funny. I mean, if I were 18 and scored, I'd probably act the same way. Finland would get one back on the power play, but in the third, Macklin Celebrini would score. Canada seemed to know it was in. The video coach for Canada definitely knew it was in. I've got to say, Celebrini, who was the projected first overall draft pick, didn't really stand out to me like I hoped he would. Definitely not like Bedard last year, who was just scoring at will. But I'm curious to see what he can put together for the tournament. But at a couple empty netters and one back for Finland, the final score would be 5-2. Again, they said on TSN they didn't think the score was indicative of the quality of play. I certainly did. Team Canada got so many chances in the slot, so many breakaways. I thought the Finnish goaltender Kakko did a great job of keeping them in the game, above all else. One of the big things for Canada, too, way too many penalties. They had 6 penalties in total over the game. There was one that was sort of a phantom call, but that's way too many. Overall, though, very enjoyable game. In other action today, Slovakia blew up Czechia 6-2. Right now, Norway, who was just promoted, taking Austria's spot, is in a 0-0 tie with the U.S. halfway through the second, so that may be another video for today. But that's all I've got right now, guys. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. Every box comes pre-portioned, freshly packed, straight to your door. So HelloFresh saves our family so much time. We just choose what we want. Slovakia be a dark horse to win the World Juniors because they just did something they haven't done in over 20 years. They won the first 2 games of the World Juniors, and now they're leading Group B. Yep, that's the second time ever they won their first 2 games out of the gate, and it's the first time since 2002, and they're looking strong start here. They started the tournament with an upset against Czechia on opening day 6-2, and they just got their second one this morning with a shutout against Switzerland. And the shutout was fully deserved by Blackhawks prospect and second-round pick out of last year's draft, Adam Gajan, who just stood on his head all day as Switzerland outplayed the Slovaks for most of the third, but just could not beat Gajan. If you wonder why his name is familiar, it's because he did the same thing in last year's tournament in Halifax. He was in nets for the Slovaks, and he took them against Canada, where they would end up falling to Bedard's crazy overtime goal that ended their run. The Slovakia won nothing. The first 10 minutes of the third were mostly controlled by the Swiss, as they're the speedier team. They were cycling the puck well with some good side-to-side passing with high scoring chances, but again, Gajan just kept stuffing the door. The best chance Switzerland would actually have would be when Slovakia was on the power play. After a break about the blue line, they used their speed to get a breakaway, but fumbled it right at the last second, and Gajan made another save. And even though Switzerland was faster, Slovakia they're just a physically stronger and more imposing team. They shield the puck well, and they win most of their board battles, and they just grind you down. Both their empty netters were a great example of this. First one, when they win the board battle, as Switzerland commits just way too many men to the boards, and they get a beauty pass up to Repchik, who just gets in all alone and scores an easy one. Beauty pass right up the gut. And the next one is just Petrovsky barreling into the zone. He matches through 2 defenders, just out-battling them physically, and he has a clean look at the net, and he puts it away. Just a couple of lunch pail goals, but that's Slovakia's bread and butter. That's their game, and now with that, they're leading Group B with 2 wins. Do you think this Slovakian team has what it takes to make some noise in this tournament? Do you think they can do better than last year, or has it all just been a lucky start for them? Let us know down below. The Canucks. The Winnipeg Jets are officially on one as they finished up their last game before the holiday season. They beat up the Big Bad Bruins to the tune of 5-1 with help from Connor Hellebuyck and Gabe Vilardi as his goal-scoring streak continues. Gabe gets a nice pass in from Ehlers, Mooseheads legend, as he's sitting on the back door, potting his 6th in 5 games as he tries to keep pace with Matthews. I mean, I'm joking, but that is 6 goals and 12 points in the last 5 games for Gabe, and he's about as hot as the rest of the team's been this December. So far in the 10 games during the last month of the year, they've
they've gone 8-1-1. 8-1-1. That's 17 out of a possible 20 points so far, and thumping the Bruins is another notch in their belt, as they've had wins against other good teams during the stretch. I mean, they beat the Avalanche twice, and the Kings and Hurricanes each once. Although, funny enough, their one regulation loss came to, guess, no, the Sharks, of all teams, where they fell 2-1. And the overtime loss was to the Habs, but the wins have been good. You gotta love to see it as a Winnipeg fan after the complaints and cuts from the team this summer after continuously being called out for their lack of character and fight. The Jets have seemingly righted the ship under Adam Lowry's leadership, and after the break, they'll look to get back to their winning ways against the lowly Chicago Blackhawks, although Bedard is heating up, so potential trap game when they've got a belly full of gravy. How do you feel about the Jets? Do you think they've got a bit more gumption than the team they had last year who got bullied in the playoffs? Are they giving his best hope for a Stanley Cup this year, or will it be the same song and dance come springtime? Let us know down below.
Chris Letang just turned back the clock as he just had a wild second period scoring 5 assists. 5 assists in 1 period, the absolute bananas on this guy. That's an NHL record for him too, as he's the first defenseman to ever score 5 points in 1 period. Doesn't matter goals or assists, no one has ever done 5 before. And really, he would have had 6 if the first goal of the game wasn't tipped in. But after he's left off the score sheet from that first one, he made sure he'd make it in for every goal in the rest of the way. First assist of the night was that goal tipped in by longtime buddy Jake Gensel, 2-0 Pens. And just 12 seconds later, Jake Gensel scores his second of the night as Letang picks up his second assist of the night, a 3-0 Pens. Then Letang moves it for Smith, who finds Gino in the slot, and the big rig doesn't miss. 4 Ginos for the Pens. Then just a few minutes later, Letang finds Malkin yet again as he pots home his 12th of the season as he becomes the second best Russian goal scorer all time, passing Sergei Fedorov. He's now at 484 on the career, and he's on pace to crack 500 by the very end of the season. Then the Pens get another 2-on-1 with just under 3 to go as they break in, beat Sorokin again as Letang picks up his 5th assist as a secondary. 5 assists is amazing no matter which way you cut it, but haters will point out that 4 of the assists were secondaries and only 1 was primary. Well, maybe, but just like Letang, we've had no time for haters, and he went out in the 3rd period and recorded another secondary assist just to put a little bit of salt in the wound of the haters. That'll be 6 total assists for Letang as the Penguins go on to beat the Islanders 7-0. Big win in the Metro for the Pens as they need that and they need to string some along here so they can get themselves in the conversation. What do you think of Letang's 6 assists tonight? Did you find it underwhelming for an NHL record, or were you just perfectly well? Let us know down below.
Okay, I'll let you know down below.
We had a couple of great rookie performances last night from 2 of the big dogs.